Hi everyone, Jennifer Blevins-Smith with Integral Clinic Solutions, and you're watching my YouTube channel, Navigating the Business of Medicine. Today I want to talk about the importance of staff meetings. I was a manager in both a family medicine practice and also an allergy and immunology practice. It was quite large. I had the responsibility of overseeing all of the non-clinical departments across about 13 locations in 4 different states. That means that I oversaw the revenue cycle, front office staff, inventory, and the clinical research. It was crucial that I had a strong communication system set up with my staff because I couldn't be on site at all locations all of the time. There were also situations where I might not be readily available because I was in an important meeting or I might have been out of town on vacation or something like that. And I needed to have the faith and the confidence that I have prepared my staff appropriately to be able to handle things in my absence. I felt the best way to do this was to have regular meetings with my staff. In the family practice, I did that once a month. It was very, very kind of our owner providers. They would buy lunch for everyone because we closed for lunch every day. It was a small practice. And we would order lunch in, courtesy of the doctors, and I would have a whole agenda to go through to make sure everybody was on the same page of what was going on in the practice, things to anticipate. And also the providers were in that meeting as well, which made it even better. When I moved to the bigger practice, it was not as easy to coordinate, of course, but I did make it work. Because of technology and being able to do Zoom or Teams meetings, we were able to get at least the lead or the main person in every location from my departments that I oversaw to join the meetings to be able to do the same thing. The stronger the communication is, the better I feel the practice will operate, the better care you can give to your patients. And it helps people feel empowered, right? That you're trusting them with the information, you're allowing them to make decisions based on the resources and information you're providing them. When I was in the small family practice, I would make sure that every meeting had one OSHA topic and one HIPAA topic. That way, if I were to ever be audited or have an issue with OSHA or an issue with HIPAA compliance type situation, I could prove that not only were my staff doing their annual required trainings, I was also making sure that I put things on the forefront of their mind. So if we had a data breach or some kind of HIPAA incident, I made sure that we went over that and did kind of a post-mortem. I would make sure anything going on in the healthcare realm when it came to OSHA related things that I would talk about that. If we had a needle stick injury or something, I would refresh everybody's memory on proper protocol and all of the things that go with that. It just is a suggestion, obviously, but I was told that suggestion by my mentor when I became an office manager, and I really liked it, so I'm sharing that with you. When I was in the larger practice, I still tried to follow that, but because I would do more department sized meetings instead of like having all departments that I was in charge of in one meeting together, I tried to focus it more on their areas, right? So if it was revenue cycle, making sure that when they're talking to patients over the phone, they're taking 2 forms of identification verification, like name and date of birth, name and address, things like that, making sure they're not speaking to people whom they shouldn't be based off release of information data that we had from the patient. Front office, same kind of thing. I just wanted to make sure that I was gearing it more towards something relevant to their everyday workflow. I also had other pieces of communication that supplemented the meeting. So I would also put together my synopsis, if you will, after my meeting, and I would give a summary to everybody. So anybody who wasn't present or someone who maybe couldn't remember everything, they could go back and reference what was discussed. They were very detailed notes, and I asked every department to have a designated spot where these would be stored, whether it was a Google Drive that everybody had access to or an actual 3-ring binder where they printed it off. I asked everyone to have it so it was easily available. I also always kept my own organized way of keeping track of those in case someone missed it. And I would email it to all the staff that were not present, in addition to the people who were present. I tried to be really good at communication with my staff. I know I wasn't perfect, but I feel like my staff appreciated that, and they knew that if I couldn't get back to them right away, I would get back to them as soon as I could. I had an open door policy, you can call me, text me anytime policy, and I feel that really helped with lessening the issues that we had so that our staff meetings could focus on upcoming changes, any kind of maybe patient situations we needed to address and review because we hadn't experienced it before and I wanted everyone to know how to handle it next time. Any kind of repeated things I saw that were issues or challenges, to make sure we put it out there. Of course, billing and coding changes for my revenue cycle. We also had the scribes that would be documenting for the providers in our revenue cycle meetings because it was relevant to them to make sure things were supported with documentation. They were coding things correctly. So they joined our revenue cycle calls, which was really nice. And we also had our billing company join those meetings because we wanted everyone involved to be on the same page and be able to communicate and say, oh, we're seeing this trend, we're getting audits by this insurance, be aware of this, things like that. Actually, in the revenue cycle, I also had my colleague, my counterpart who oversaw all of the clinical departments, join those calls because it affected so many different people and we wanted to make sure that everything was working on and firing on all cylinders the way it should, to lessen denials, rejections, and to get paid as fast as possible. Out of these, we got brainstorms from staff members. I encouraged my staff to bring ideas, to bring suggestions, and we would talk out things, or they would bring up things I wasn't even aware of at the time and work through those and be able to establish new workflows or new policies. It was really, really great. But I also communicated to my staff that I encouraged them to participate and to feel like they could put some contributions into ideas and restructuring of workflows, etc. That is something I also encourage you to empower your staff, not only to feel confident in the stuff you're giving them from these meetings and after, but also to bring things that they're finding is challenging or frustrating, something like that, because then they feel heard, hopefully. You take it seriously and you can keep your staff. We all know staff turnover is expensive. It's frustrating to the other staff and to the patients. So whatever you can do to try to lessen staff leaving your practice because of burnout or frustrations or being unhappy, you're not going to be able to obviously help everybody and make everyone feel like they are contributing and that they love their job, but the more you can and the less turnover you have, in my opinion, the more successful you're going to be. If you have any questions or comments about staff meetings and communication with your staff, please leave that in the comments below. Smash the thumbs up button if today's video was helpful. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and please share this with your colleagues whom you feel would benefit. I appreciate the support, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.